Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you a review slash critique of a very famous astrology book entitled Secrets from a Stargazer's Notebook. It was written by Debbie Kempton Smith, who is a renowned author and astrologer, and it was first published in 1982, but like the Round Art book, The Astrology of Time and Space, that I had reviewed and critiqued previously, this is another book that simply transcends time. And even though it came out in 1982, I don't think this astrology book will ever become outdated or obsolete. It has a very strong amount of astrological knowledge in it. What makes this book very unique and distinct from a lot of other astrological reading material is the fact it was written in like a conversational, or I could say colloquial type manner, and it's almost like when like somebody talking to you in a conversation. It's not written like your typical astrological textbook, and really you'd have to see it to see really more what I'm talking about. I recommend this read for anybody that is, whether you're a charlatan or novice at astrology, or at the intermediate level, or you're at a very advanced professional level, because this is it is really entertaining and very informative. And I mean, when I was looking at it, it said some things about like my moon is in Gemini, and it said something very comical connected with it. And it's really, and you look at all these this material that is in it. It's not just really not just about the whimsical quality of interpretations. They have just has a lot of good material in it, and it talks about planets in the signs. I don't know if it goes through every single one, but I do know it goes through at least a number of them. And it also, in the back of it, what I thought was interesting, I think it was in the back of it, they had like kind of like an ephemeris that was written in kind of, it was in a different way than what we're accustomed to seeing it. It showed planetary positions as far as the time it would enter a sign, and then the time it would depart or leave the sign and go into another sign. Instead of, like, when you go onto an online ephemeris, for example, it'll just show you positions of planets like at midnight at GMT or what have you. But what this one does, it actually shows you, I believe it's like in military time, when a planet enters a sign and when it exits it. So I thought that was very interesting. It's just very unorthodox the way this book is. It's been referred to as an irreverent classic by some commentary on this book when online, and really I couldn't maybe sum that up better myself. And it also has a number of celebrity charts that are in this book, and really it's also, if I'm not mistaken, it had like the chart of a building in it, and I believe a country as well. So it's very diversified. It has a lot of different things in it that make this book very distinctive and unique. And Debbie Kempton Smith is obviously uproarious. She has a really good sense of humor, and she incorporates that into these, I guess you could say, the passages, or the interpretations on certain material. So the reality is, this book is really I really feel it's one of the best astrology books that was ever written. And the thing about it is, the only thing that I didn't, I want to give it 5 stars. I give it 4.5, because the one thing I didn't agree in that book was when they were talking about, like, for example, the planets and the signs, and they would have moon in Gemini, then it would read, comma, moon in the 3rd house. I don't think they're exactly the same. Many of you may have heard me talk about this on previous videos. Planets in the signs and in the houses are not exactly the same. I don't believe it. Moon in Gemini is more, I believe, about the characteristics of Gemini coming out through that emotional expression, for example. And then if you have the moon in the third house, that's more of like an emotional communicator. That's more of that energy coming out, the emotional energy coming out in that sector of life, which is, in that case, the third house. So really, and I think that may have been done, though, just to kind of condense the book, because it was, if I'm not mistaken, 529 pages. So it was a pretty good sized book. So I understand why maybe it was abridged to some degree by doing that. But at the same time, I don't think the planets and the signs, planets in a certain sign, and then that planet in that house that corresponds with that sign, I don't believe they're the exact same thing. They're similar, yes, but not exactly the same. But anyway, people, again, I do recommend this book for anybody that is enamored with the subject of astrology. And again, I give it 4.5 stars out of a possible 5-star rating. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.